Last night, we saw Mauricio Pochettino's young Chelsea team come out and stand up for their manager. There's been much pressure and speculation around Pochettino's job at this football club, but one consistent thing about Pochettino's management is how he stands up, defends, supports, believes in. And last night, these players reacted perfectly by responding with that faith and belief on the field. So today, my friends, I'm here to discuss 4 things we learned after last night's win. I hope you guys definitely enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys show us some love and hit that like button. I'm really trying to get over 2k likes. And friends, sit back, relax, and let's break down what we learned in last night's win. Is Mudryk now ready to show his electric best? Last night, for myself, I felt like Mudryk scored the goal of the game. I think that's a massive compliment considering the great goals scored all round. I felt like Mudryk's goal typified the untapped potential we are still waiting to see and waiting to explore with Mudryk. Let's analyze the goal scored by Mudryk. As always, Nicolas Jackson spearheading and leading the attack. His head's up and he looks to play the pass across goal. He finds Conor Gallagher, but in this moment, Mudryk just flashes out from nowhere like lightning. And he takes the ball away from Conor Gallagher. So in this moment, it means that you are now in control and you are taking responsibility if you're taking the ball away like this. Now, it's kind of mad because in front of him, there's like at least 5 Newcastle players there. So the fact that he was able to take a moment like this and convert it into a goal, I think it demonstrates this guy's potential. The first touch is perfect. Oh, like I have to slow this down a little bit so you guys can see. But the first touch away from 2 Newcastle players right here. It's taken the defender by surprise now. And his body position's in a way where he can't really react because both his feet are planted on the ground. What does Mudryk do? Another touch. And as you see here, look at the skill, look at the quick feet. To not make him from this position is mad. I mean, that is just great, incredible improvised skill right there. And from that moment forwards, he has the goalkeeper to deal with in front of him. He takes another great touch into the space here, which means the keeper now is forced to leave his goal line to come and try and close down the angles. But Mudryk anticipates this. He does everything at such a high speed. Look at the quick feet, the little shift and dummy to take the ball to a stronger foot on the right. Again, he notices that the keeper now is planted on the ground, so it's all up to him. Great body balance, great awareness, and a good finish at the end. And Mudryk scores the goal of the game last night. Look at the celebration, it means so much to him. All his teammates come to him, they're in praise, they're gassing him up. They've always been very supportive of this guy throughout the season. And you know, I have to say for myself, this was the goal of the game, and this is the type of quality that many of us in the fan base now are hoping to see more consistently from Mudryk. It doesn't take away the fact that it's been a very up and down season for him. He has been out of the team recently, and Pochettino is trying to force a personal reaction out from the player by having him try to impact games off the bench right now. I constantly think to myself, why is it that Mudryk is so up and down this season? And I see this fight between the Mudryk that wants to be free, that wants to play his game, versus a Mudryk that is being coached now to have to focus on refinement. This imbalance, this confusion between what he must do creates these poor moments that we have been seeing from Mudryk, because outside of some great individual moments at times, we still haven't seen Mudryk take a game by the scruff of his neck. You know, really affect a game throughout with his control, his pace, his dribbling, his threat, his passing, his shooting outside the box. There has not been one game in which Mudryk has demonstrated all his capabilities and talents at the level that we want to see. And I think to myself now, is it time that maybe we allow Mudryk to be free and to accept the mistakes that will come from his game? I think the best player that I can compare Mudryk to would be Marcus Rashford, because maybe for the first 3.5 years, Rashford would play with his head down, and then afterwards, as he develops, as he grew, he realized that there was a whole pitch in front of him, and he is one of the best goal-scoring wingers in Europe. I think Rashford is a pretty good comparison for Mudryk because they have a pretty similar profile in their game. Very powerful runners, very powerful shot takers as well too, and of course they have explosiveness in their game. But if Rashford was getting overcoached at a young age, would that have allowed him to develop over the years and show his current form that he's doing right now? I know that some may argue that Mudryk is 23 years old, he should be ready now, but realistically he was a very late bloomer in the game and didn't really start playing games until he was 20 years old, so it's been a very fast trajectory in his career so far, and I do think that since he's come to the Premier League, has he really been allowed to just play freely and play the game he wants to? Whilst playing for Shakhtar, he'd be a guy where maybe he'd complete 4 out of 8 dribbles, he'd make 4 mistakes to get beaten, but the 4 times he got it right, he was absolutely destroying his opponents. I feel like Mudryk wants to have that inner confidence and feel for life in the Premier League. When you beat your man, it's also that instinct, it's also that feeling. It's not something you can be coached in the training ground. And I do feel like at times when it comes to executing what's been worked upon in training, we see this like imperfection and we see this confusion from Mudryk where in certain games, even in games he's playing in, he'll do that action correctly, and then he won't repeat that same action. Like even when he scored that great goal last night, he quickly kickstarted another counter-attack, and instead of taking another shot on goal, he looks to play the ball instead and pass responsibility on. And I think that with Mudryk, ideally, he wanted to take that shot, but he still doesn't have that full confidence to do what he wants to do. And I think that can only come if his game is encouraged and maybe slowly refined, so we can manage the expectation levels around this talent. And for the second thing learnt, can Nico Jackson become that next great Chelsea striker? He is slowly now adding more goals to his game. Suddenly, a lot of people are remembering that Nicolas Jackson is a pretty good all-round football player. Now, currently, this means that he now has 12 goals and assists in the Premier League in 24 games for Nicolas Jackson. That's not too bad. From that, that's now 12 goals a season with 3 assists in 37 appearances, meaning that is now 15 goals and assists in 37 games. Now, since scoring against Aston Villa and returning back from AFCON duties, that is now 4 goals and 1 assist in the last 7 games for Nico Jackson. And I actually think to myself, maybe the AFCON was the perfect getaway for Nicolas Jackson to come back with more clarity in his mind and more confidence. You're away from the pressure from playing for the football club. You're with your nation, but you're not really playing as many games. So you're coming back now mentally refreshed. You're coming back now physically refreshed. And most importantly, you are coming back hungry because you haven't been playing as much. I think Nicolas Jackson is showing some early signs of progression and development now in his game. And I think Pochettino deserves a ton of praise for maintaining the belief, patience and positivity around Nicolas Jackson. Now, Poch revealed recently that he's told Nico to study the games of players like Didier Drogba, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Gabriel Batistuta. And here's what he said: Jackson loves to watch different strikers and learn. He is very humble to listen and to accept when we show him different strikers or when we try to advise him on the game. Always it is like this. It is a process to learn. That happened with Harry Kane. At the beginning, he was listening to us. Now at 30 years old, he teaches us now. Jackson is doing well, but he is learning. We show him all the strikers for him to see. Batistuta, Drogba, experienced players, amazing players, big players, Hasselbank. You can learn from them always. And I think the fact that Pochettino really highlighted Nicolas Jackson's humble nature, I think that is so true because Nico has accepted the criticism against him. And some of this criticism sometimes has been a bit unfair and it has been a bit of a mad one in my opinion. But people are even questioning whether he's good enough to play as a Premier League football player, which is absolutely ridiculous. He is still a work in progress. He understands that. He knows he isn't the finished article. He isn't arrogant enough to think that he's good enough already, hence why he is open to learning and wanting to improve, and hence why he is responding to Pochettino's love and Pochettino's faith in him. Now, I've been showing Nicolas Jackson's game against Newcastle as I've been talking about him because it shows the overall qualities he brings outside of just goal scoring. Look at the headers he won to set up certain attacks in the team. Some of those headers, I'm not trying to say it too early, but it reminded me the timing in which he's winning these, back flick headers of like a young Didier Drogba. It shows me that this guy really is putting to work what he is learning and what is being analysed around his game. And the fact that Nico is 1 goal away from matching the same Prem scoring record set by Didier Drogba in his first season in this country when he's like nearly 4 or 5 years younger is testament to the potential that Nico has. To have 15 goals and assists in 37 games, that's nearly a goal involvement action in nearly every 2 games. And it just feels like right now, Nico will score more goals and will get more assists before the season ends. And I think once the season ends, we can dissect his progression more objectively. And there could be serious questions about whether we really should be signing like a big name money striker, but maybe Nicolas Jackson has a lot more to show for the following season. Now for the third thing we've learned. Cole Palmer is Stamford Bridge's new magician. With his goal last night, it now means that Palmer has 18 goals and assists throughout the season, 10 goals, 8 assists. If you add on the 2 goals he scored for Man City, it now means officially that Cole Palmer ranks as the youngest player under 21 years old with the most goal contributions in European football's top 5 divisions. And I think that speaks volumes about this guy's progression playing for us. And as Cole Palmer himself said, he had to leave Man City because he was now ready, he believed, to be playing week in and week out. Now, I actually want to discuss some of Palmer's media duties after the game last night because there was a particular mad interview from Tim Sherwood. Here's what he had to say himself.
It's just all you need is some players to play with. I know you can't say that, but I'm saying it. I just think you need more quality around you. For me, he needs to build the team around you, the quality where you have. But that'll come with a few transfer windows, hopefully, once he gets the right players in.
Yeah, there's a lot of quality there, like not just me. We've got loads of other players, so hopefully the team can gel a bit more than everyone has seen.
I think that's very audacious from Sherwood's. I think it's a bit arrogant in that sense, and I think it's a bit selfish because what reaction was he honestly expecting from Cole Palmer? And I don't think Palmer was having that, because one thing I liked about the interview was how Cole Palmer had laser eye focus on Sherwood when he was talking to him, where it's like, listen, don't be disrespecting my teammates. That's what his facial expression said to me. He reiterated the quality that exists in this team and how young they are, and how much all of them can still improve. And I think later on in the post-match interview with Sky Sports, he also came out to say that, listen, there is quality in this group. This quality isn't seen by the media, and it's not seen by the fans. So for myself, I liked the maturity in which Palmer handled these situations, and it's this early signs of a leadership that is now blossoming in the player. I think if there's one player that reflects that positive family-like feel that we know Pochettino is known for cultivating in his squads, I think that would be Cole Palmer. I think he is the embodiment of all these positive things that Pochettino is trying to instill in this team. Like, if we aren't seeing the improvements play-wise and tactically that all of us are hoping to see a lot more of, there's one thing that can't be denied, and that is the development of character in this team, of confidence, of belief. This stuff isn't linear, but it's gradually been present and improving since the start of the season to right now. Now, stats-wise, Palmer had 49 touches of the ball yesterday. That was 20 out of 27 passes played, 3 key passes, 2 shots, 2 out of 4 dribbles, 5 out of 10 ground duels. Now, you've been seeing me just show you his overall game against Man City, but I want to focus and zero in on the goals that he scored and his involvements for them, because throughout the season, we've seen Palmer constantly look to attempt shots outside the box. Now, it's normally failed, and it's normally been for 3 pretty main reasons. Number one, he goes for that bait, curling effort to the far post time and time again, and over time that becomes a bit predictable. You know, teams are going to read you and they're going to read your actions. On the other hand, he has a habit of overplaying sometimes, where he's taking extra touches inside the box instead of trusting his shooting technique. And number 3, he just isn't quickly executing and taking his shots fast enough. And by the time he does that, of course, you know, they're getting blocked most times, or he's off balance and they're going off target. But yesterday, I was thinking to myself, are these like the early signs of this improvement and development in the player? Because on 2 occasions, he did everything that he hasn't typically been doing throughout the season, and that is taking his shots early. You see it here with the first goal. Gusto, excellent last night. His cross gets poorly cleared by Botman. It finds itself going towards Cole Palmer. First touch, perfect. And it sets up the second action. And you see Cole Palmer instantly taking a shot with his weaker foot. Now, the great thing is, it goes into the path of Nicolas Jackson, but it demonstrates that mentality of Cole Palmer not looking to overplay, not looking to take another touch to try and find the perfect body position before he takes a shot. It's almost as if he knows this is something in his game that he has to work upon, and he has to go for different shot selections. That's how we get the first goal, because it comes from Cole Palmer, of course, reacting in the right way to receiving the ball in a good position. You know, the second goal that he scores, I think it demonstrates what hard work is really about and what these guys are working upon week in, week out, because this was an excellent goal. Again, Enzo Fernandez, he receives that pass beautifully with his stronger foot. Perfect first touch into the space, because he knows I am looking to get that first touch out of my feet, because I'm looking to take a shot early, because I've already seen the goalkeeper is out of position, and if I strike this ball early and hit it with my laces, he ain't going to get it. And he demonstrates that with superb technique, because it's not very often we've seen Cole Palmer attempting to strike balls with his laces. A lot of times, as I'm saying, it's that curling effort time and time again where he's opening his body up. Now, that's the goal he wants to score more of course, but there's also other techniques that are needed in different game states. So, you know, when I'm seeing this progression in Cole Palmer, you know, it just goes to show that this is a guy that not only is of a very high level already for his age, but there's more to come from him. You know, he has game-winning, match-winning abilities, which he's shown so many positive signs of throughout this season. But he can get even more and more of this, because he's a guy that can get you double digits for both goals and for assists. He's been so instrumental to everything positive we've done this season at a very young age. You know, he was right when he said he was ready now to play week in, week out. And I guess we're very fortunate to have a player of his ability and growing potential at our football club. And for the final thing learnt, is it time for Sterling to impact games off the bench right now? Because since the start of the new year, it's not been the best year for Raheem Sterling. You know, since 2024 started, he's only got 3 assists and 2 goals in 14 games. But the thing is, his better performances and most of these goals and assists have come against championship opposition playing in cup games. His only defining moment against like a top class team came with his opening goal against Man City just a few weeks back. For someone who is seen as one of the experienced players of the team on really high wages, that has had a history of winning silverware, there was an expectation that he'd bring that type of class and quality with him to help uplift and improve this team. And sadly, it just hasn't been the case. Now, last night, for probably the 3rd time this season, there was a moment for Raheem Sterling to maybe release the ball to his teammate in Cole Palmer, who might have been in a more favourable position to affect the game from that position. Instead, Sterling kind of overplays a little bit, and he takes his shot and it goes straight at a defender or goalkeeper, because the position of the ball is like a few yards away from Sterling. So, you know, Cole Palmer wouldn't be in that position once Sterling actually connects with the ball again. But I think this angle maybe does show that maybe this punt was a bit more difficult than we first realized, because it starts from Enzo Fernandez, you know, great play, evades the press, superb pass to Nico, nice bat flick header into the path of Sterling. Drogba would have been proud of that. And you're seeing actually the distance between Sterling and Palmer was actually a lot further than we first realized. Raheem Sterling, you're thinking right here, is he going to take the ball to the left, take it outside the keeper and bury that? For a player of his ability and his experience, that should be second nature at this point in time, right? But instead, he kind of deads the ball. And I think like when you lack confidence, you take extra touches in your game. You know, he looks to cut back inside, but by then all he's doing is closing down the angle in front of goal. You know, he gets past the keeper, but look, his body position is kind of off balance. Another touch away, but with the keeper on the left and the 2 Newcastle players blocking the shooting angles on the right hand side, you know, it means that it has to be a pretty spectacular goal from this angle. And unfortunately, of course, he just takes a tame effort and he misses the opportunity. Now, I think if we slow things down, from this angle, he's feeling the pressure behind him from the defender. So it means that his first touch has to be into the space. He has to run after that, which he does right here. But by the time he gets the ball, of course, I don't think he even noticed Cole Palmer from the opposite side, because, you know, his focus was on protecting the ball and driving through on goal. When we slow things down, this was a big touch taken into space. And by the time he actually just like connects with the ball again right here, with his left foot right here, I think that the opportunity to square that to Palmer had finished by then, because he would have had to have already preempted Palmer on the right hand side, and he should have been ready then to instantly square that ball across goal. But I don't think Palmer was there. But for myself, with Sterling's quality, I just think it's simply this: you should have the skill to round the goalkeeper, and you hit that into an empty net. Right here, you see, poor touch away. There was moments there to skip the keeper. The keeper kind of made it easy for him to do that, or maybe even winning a penalty by forcing the situation. I mean, you slow things down a bit further right here. By the time he looks to cut in across goal, he skips past the keeper. But look right here, Cole Palmer had slipped already. So if Sterling was looking to square that ball to Palmer, that opportunity was gone now. And I think that is why, you know, Sterling kind of reactively took that shot, because there was nothing else in that moment. You know, I like to sympathise, but it doesn't take away the fact that I don't feel disappointed at the same time. I think there's another moment in this game as well too. Great play by Cole Palmer. Him and Gusto got a phenomenal relationship. Sick first touch by Gusto to dead that ball. Cross in the box. Conor Gallagher, he's aware, and he heads that back to Raheem Sterling. Sterling's first touch is away to take the shot. Now what he should be doing is he should be hitting that ball into the bottom left corner. If he was confident, I think that's an instinctive thing that he does. Instead, it's a tame effort straight at the goalkeeper. Now, reports confirm the fact that Todd Boehly has already been spotted in Saudi Arabia, holding talks with Saudi clubs over potential sales, and it'd be no surprise to believe that Raheem Sterling would be one of those players that this ownership would be open to moving on based on Sterling's costs compared to the actual actions and performances we're getting from him. So if Sterling wants to remain at this football club, he must really step up dramatically before the season ends. So my friends, these are the 4 things learned in our win against Newcastle United. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Share your thoughts and opinions. I'm really curious to see how you guys feel about things. And most importantly, show us some love and hit that like button too. I'll catch you guys tomorrow with some more videos. Cool.